So I really enjoyed your take on a single pane of glass to a single glass of pain, right? Because that's where we are, you know. And so the thing that's going through my mind is, do we really think that automation is going to be that panacea that solves that single glass of pain, you know, in terms of how we're doing it?
Tina, what do you think? Is automation? All right, she says yes.
Yes, she says yes. Okay.
But it's interesting. That is, you know, a lot of times business would come to me and say, hey, gee, we got to automate everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, do you like what you get today?
Yeah, because I could automate that.
No. It's like, okay, so you don't like what you get today, but you want me to make that go faster.
Faster, yeah.
So I think part of it is, you know, how do we use automation to actually solve our digital problems? Yeah. So make sure we go back and think about simplifying.
Yeah.
So what is it that we're trying to achieve? Even as we work with, as an example with you, what are the processes that we've had for many years that we booted up every day as a hardware business?
So that's fundamentally the issue, right? If you're going to look to automate things, what you've got to be asking yourself is, how do I use that to change the way that people experience IT today?
Right.
And so it's automate something to improve it, not automate it just to improve the process. And I think, you know, for our part, what we found is that the multiple levels of skills that you need means that pulling those things together is a complex environment, right? So you can automate things. There's a lot of background work that needs to go into the outcome of a successful automation.
It is, and if you think about it at the business level, but I'll give you an example from even the infrastructure. So a few years back, we looked at, you know, hey, let's automate, let's provide infrastructure.
Yeah.
For, you know, our goal was to get it from days and weeks and months to minutes. Yeah. Well, how are we going to go about doing that?
Yeah.
What we looked at is, hey, we have a 28-step process.
Yeah.
We open up 26 trouble tickets with disparate parts of the organization. So, we can go automate that, but are we actually fixing the root cause? So we went back and we looked at the process. We said, how are we going to simplify that? And that came down to less than 10 steps.
Yeah.
And that became our sort of the first iteration. We were able to take that and start to move it down to days.
So what I've found in terms of getting that right with our end clients is just how important it is to get them involved in that process. Right. So the whole notion of kind of co-innovation and co-sourcing, if you will, in terms of the way that we go about building things. Yeah. It's about multiple technology parts. You know, so we've got an innovation center that we built out in Malaysia and we make available to all of our clients. And the benefit of that is that you can actually online have multiple technologies, you know, obviously Cisco in there, but, you know, a whole bunch of other data center providers, the likes of Dell EMC and Microsoft and F5 to all of the other security vendors. The reality is that these, you know, that's all part of a broad ecosystem of partners.
And how do you make that transparent to the user?
And to the point, if you get that wrong, if you automate that wrongly, you're going to get back to a single glass of paint, right?
Because it's
a challenge,
You know, and you really have to try to simplify that. Yeah. And actually, while you're doing that, comes the transformation of the people and the skills, right? We have this notion of software-defined everything. So we learned from our infrastructure days of how we moved from 8 weeks to 8 minutes.
Yeah.
How do we virtualize that infrastructure? And as we moved our way up the stack, we've learned that, you know, the person that used to be the network engineer.
Yeah, your top CCIE.
The top CCIE, who, you know, these guys have tattoos, they have shirts, they have their number. But it's, as you move up the stack, you learn to become not just the network engineer, but the full stack engineer.
Exactly.
That means you have to get new skills like, you know, Python or Ansible or software skills.
Are those new software engineers who you teach infrastructure to, or is it taking infrastructure guys and teaching them how to code? Is it a little bit of both?
Both.
Exactly.
And we've actually moved our infrastructure, our network engineers up the stack.
Yeah.
We've actually taken application engineers and moved them down into infrastructure.
Yeah.
And what you think about is, in the end, if you think about the cloud, it's both. It's like cloud native says, hey, I'm going to take a business process and I'm going to architect it in a way
And I tell you what's interesting in that for us as well is when you operate across 50 odd countries, is your ability to take a piece of code that's worked for you in one corner of the world and to actually have that as a repository and have engineers and guys who are rolling out the software pick that up and build on it for the next. So the whole notion of continuous learning and moving on really drives the way that we are building infrastructure today.
It's really continuous everything. So software defined is how do we continually learn, but how do we continually move our way up the stack.
So let's summarize this. Answer the question: is automation the panacea that's going to solve all of our problems?
I think automation is one key factor, as long as you can take a step back and understand the landscape of what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
What is your vision? How are you going to simplify that? Use automation to then secure, gain the insights and the analytics to help you continually innovate and automate further.
So automation is almost the outcome. There's a lot more that goes into it that's required.